definition.
2006? Wasn't that US? Canada?
Canada.
Czech.
Russia.
Oh, was it the US?
Canada. I think it was Canada.
Canada.
It was Canada.
Either Canada or the US. Czechoslovakia.
Gold medal in Torino in 2006. Canada, wasn't it?
Canada.
No, 2006.
I'm going to say Russia.
Sweden.
The Swedes are always powerful, always organized, always well coached, and always dismissed.
If Rodney Dangerfield was a hockey team, he'd be Sweden. The Tre Kronor just don't get the respect they deserve as the most successful national team of the past 2 decades.
We are a small guy. Of course, if you look at how many players we have compared to, Canada, for example, then you start wondering why we are in the same league sometimes.
I think there's still in Canada a little bit of that dismissive thing about Swedes. And I'm not going to say the word, the phrase chicken Swede, but it's out there, right? The sense that, well, they're fancy dancers and they might do this stuff, but when it comes down to it, boy, I will beat them. Well, look at the evidence. The evidence would suggest otherwise.
Sweden has been in the semifinals or finals of more World Championships and Olympics since '94 than any other nation.
1994. Who can forget it? The Swedes as Canadian heartbreakers.
Lillehammer is Swedish hockey lore. Footage of this goal it's replayed in Swedish television as often as Paul Henderson's goal is replayed in Canada. It gave Sweden everything that Sweden really wanted. The first Olympic gold medal in hockey, and the team that was defeated was Canada. Things couldn't be better for a Swedish hockey fan.
There's no question. Swedish people probably look at the Olympic medal bigger than winning a Stanley Cup.
It's tough to win the Olympics. The Russians haven't won the Olympics and the World Championship the same year. Only Sweden have done that, so that just proves how tough it is.
But the cold reality is, Sweden has a checkered Olympic past. One marked by stirring victories and devastating losses.
Canada was not the best team in Salt Lake City. The Swedes were by far the best team. They pounded Canada in the opening game. Well, they had kind of a blackout or a tune-out or a brain cramp when they played Belarus. And of course, the long shot from center ice. And Tommy Salo puts up his glove, and it hits his glove, and it hits his head, and it trickles down his back, and it goes in the net. It was total unexpected fascination.
Well, being a goalie, you kind of know the responsibility that comes with it. And I remember the last time in Torino, you don't have much room for errors, so you definitely feel the pressure.
Pressure. It's something that Sweden will have to respond to in Vancouver.
Sweden is a defending gold medalist, and this carries something which Swedish athletes do not like. They do not like going into a tournament as favorites.
The Swedes begin their journey to Vancouver, knowing if they can assemble a team that repeats as champions, they will cement their reputation as a true hockey power. But if they can't, for Sweden, The road to Vancouver and defense of their gold medal begins in Liberec, Czech Republic at the 2009 Euro Tournament Series. Here, coach Bengt Aki Gustafsson and manager Mats Naslund start to take stock of the talent from which they will draw the 2010 team. With most of Sweden's stars playing for the Stanley Cup, Liberec offers them a chance to assess new blood.
Oh, we got some young players now, slowly stepping up and making some stories out themselves. That's good, and we need that because we can't rely on all these older guys, forever.
Peter and Mats has brought so much to the hockey here in Sweden, and for sure it will be a big hole to fill.
One young player that coaches and management are keen to see is 24-year-old phenom Jonas Gustafsson. At 6'3" and nicknamed the Monster, he's fresh off a brilliant season in the Swedish Elite League, highlighted by a 1.96 goals against average and a .932 save percentage.
I'm pretty new here. I haven't met all the guys before, and it feels already that I can go and talk to anybody.
Gustafsson surprised me a lot. He hasn't played that much in the national team. He played good in the Swedish league, but it's a big difference to play a good game in the Swedish league and international.
But on the eve of the Liberec tournament, Gustafsson receives a phone call and rushes home on news that his mother is seriously ill. Without their NHL stars or Gustafsson, the undermanned Swedes struggle and finish last in the 4-team round-robin tournament. But they choose to look at the bright side. They can regroup at the World Championship in Bern, Switzerland, a week later.
We're quite happy with those games anyway. It's just preparing for the World Championship. We had a few breakdowns in the game, but overall we had a good game.
I like to win. It's so much more fun. To lose is, sometimes you could have to expect to lose because you meet a better team, but winning is fun.
In Naslund and Gustafsson, Tre Kroner have two seasoned and respected leaders. Their fiery GM, Naslund, nicknamed the Petite Viking, packs an impressive hockey resume. 1991 world champion, Lillehammer gold medalist, and a 110-point sniper with the 85-86 Stanley Cup champion Canadiens.
When Montreal fans fall in love with you, they fall hard. And so when he was introduced as the captain of Team Sweden back in 1987, of course he was going to get a standing ovation because they loved him.
That's probably the thing that brought me back to this job as a team manager or GM, to be close to the game. Behind the players on the bench, I'm reacting like a player. Sometimes I get pissed off, starting to yell to help players, which I don't think coaches or GMs should do.
Yin to Naslund's yang is the laid-back Gustafsson. Known to all as Gus, the former Washington Capitol star was the brains behind the bench in Turin. To many, he's the best coach in the world outside the NHL.
I think he's a very good coach because, he's played before. He's played in the NHL for a long time. He was a good player in the NHL. And he knows how it is to perform under pressure.
We have, of course, to pick the right guys, but it still comes down to the skills on the ice. We can talk and tell them, turn left or turn right, but they have to make a decision in, thousandths of a second. And, they're there. That's why you hope that you have the better players who makes those right decisions in the right moment.
The Swedes play better in Bern. They roll through the round robin 2-1 with a loss to Latvia and wins over Austria and a determined young American squad. They lose a disappointing overtime game against Russia in the qualifying round, but bounce back with a convincing 4-1 victory over the always dangerous Swiss.
We had a very critical game against Switzerland, and I think we played our best game in that game. So I think the guys
got more confidence now than when we got here, so it's looking pretty good.
The quarterfinals pit Sweden against the Czechs. It's an important test for Tre Kroner.
Well, we know some of the younger guys here are competing for a spot in the Vancouver team, pushing from underneath, which is good for older guys. They feel the heat from underneath.
Elias, a quick shot, and Gustafsson has to make a save right off the bat.
One of those younger guys is Jonas Gustafsson.
Jonas Gustafsson, playing for Sweden for the first time at any level.
That's right. The monster is back between the pipes for Sweden, at his dying mother's insistence.
It was a really tough situation, but he really wanted to play, and his mother and his family wanted him to play too in the World Championships.
There's a shot and a save by Gustafsson.
Actually, I wasn't sure if I'm gonna play that game or not, but when you're out there, you just play, even if it's bad times or good times or whatever outside ice. You have to focus on the ice and only to get the next puck.
Jonas Gustafsson, quite a story in Sweden. A lot of eyes on him.
The game against the Czechs means a showdown with the legendary Jaromir Jagr. Asked by the Swedish media before the game if he's afraid of monsters, Jagr declares, "I'm not afraid of anyone."
Centering pass for Jagr, great stop there by Gustafsson.
It was maybe the first real test for me to play against such a good player as him and see how it is. So it was good for me.
The final here from Bern, 3-1.
Jonas Gustafsson is named Swedish Player of the Game following the win over the Czechs. It's an emotional moment.
The focus thing is just very interesting to watch how he can, turn things on. Now it's time to, leave everything else on the outside. Now I'm going to focus to stop the pucks.
And Canada is going to get the job done here.
Off the high of beating the Czechs, Sweden's pursuit of a championship in Bern is derailed by Canada in the semifinals, leaving them with a game against the U.S. for third place. But Jonas Gustafsson will not be there. He's going home to be at his mother's deathbed.
I decided that I wasn't at the right place at that time, so that's why I went home, and everybody understood that.
With 1 second to go, Artuja puts this one to bed. Sweden will win bronze.
With backup Stefan Liv in goal, the Swedes muster enough firepower to down the Americans 4-2.
And that's the last game of the season, so you want to win the last game of the season, and this year it was very important.
For Tre Kroner, the first steps to defending gold in Vancouver are paved in bronze.
Because of the last win, I think we were very happy with the results of the championship.
Welcome to Gothenburg, one of the most beautiful cities in Scandinavia, and a hockey town that has fed the National Hockey League Daniel Alfredsson, Henrik Lundqvist, Kalle Johansson, PJ Axelsson, Mikael Andersson. Great delivery of hockey talent to North America.
Team Sweden's next gathering takes place at home in August. But this is no conventional national team training camp. Unlike Canada, Russia, and the U.S., the Swedes have decided not to hold a summer skate.
That's the best shot today.
Injury insurance concerns expressed by the NHLPA may be part of the reason. But there's something more basic to the plan, too.
They don't do this on-ice orientation camp thing as Team Canada, US, or Russia.
My short game is not that good right now, so
I think that coach Bengt-Åke Gustafsson knows very well what his players are capable of. He doesn't need to see them on ice in August.
Guys, birdies are not home.
We didn't see any birds at all. I think we know each other pretty well, even though we don't play in the same clubs. We've been together in the national team for many years.
1 bogey, that's my best result so far.
That's been the Swedish model, I think, for a lot of years, the team spirit. So that's a good start for preparing for a long season, and then obviously for the Olympics in February.
I think it was the same way 4 years ago before Turin. We had the same meeting in the summertime.
It's hard to argue with success. The Swedes are defending champs. Still, not being able to see his proven NHL stars together on the ice with the new talent that emerged during the spring tournaments in Europe presents a challenge to Coach Gustafsson.
I mean, some guys took some big steps this season. It's going to be very interesting to follow them now. How are they done over the summer? How has their workout been done? And in the end, when we select a team, we see this guy, he was good last year. Now he took another step, and it's going to help us. And, in the end, we will win the gold again.
It'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of leadership for Sweden in Vancouver, because I think Sandin is arguably the greatest international player of the modern era. You look at who could possibly replace him, either as a captain from a spiritual point of view or a captain from a superstar point of view. And that might be the one area where I'm not sure who is going to be that guy.
Some things have to happen in order for Sweden to win this gold medal. Players like Daniel Alfredsson, he has to step up and assume this leadership role.
I'm not a good singer, and I don't know a lot of songs, but that's one of the songs I know. In a moment like you won World Championships or a gold medal in a championship, that's pretty emotional starting to hear your national anthem and everything that comes with it.
Looking back at last Olympics, myself, Peter Forsberg, Matt Sandin, we're all part of the leader group, and now we're going to have Zetterberg coming up. He played in last Olympics. He's going to be one of the leaders. You can go down the list. Nick Kronwall is another player. Henrik Lundqvist is going to be very important. So, they kind of have to carry the load now for our team to be the leaders. When the other guys aren't here anymore playing.
The issue of leadership aside, one factor more than any other will probably determine where the Swedes finish in Vancouver.
This is Blindenbacher at the line. Shot right on, stopped by Henrik Lundqvist.
The teams that have that ability to have that superstar goaltender, they are the ones that have a chance to win. Because really, a lot of the Olympics comes down to who's the hottest in the nets.
That's probably the most important position in a short tournament like that.
With New York Rangers star 2006 gold medal goalie Henrik Lundqvist and 2009 World Championship sensation Jonas Gustafsson to choose from, Trey Kroner are doubly blessed in net. Who starts in Vancouver? The jury is out, at least for one of the decision makers.
I cannot say that Henrik Lundqvist is going to be the first goalie in the Olympics because we have some young guys that challenge him.
For other observers, however, the right call is obvious.
Well, the other goalies who go to Vancouver probably go there as pretty much tourists. Henrik Lundqvist is the man for Sweden.
When you play against Lunkan, he's a good goalie. When he's on, it's really tough to play against.
I think it's important that you don't get too involved in what's going on around you. They don't pay me to play golf. You just need to focus on stopping the puck,
If you have Lundqvist, who's arguably the best guy in the world, and you have Gustafsson, who is potentially the best young goaltender in the world, and a guy who in any given game could get so hot, could win games for you because he looks like he could be that kind of guy. That is a great option to have. In our dreams, Canada has that option.
It's mid-November. Bengt Aki Gustafsson and assistant coach Matthias Norrstrom are in North America for a whirlwind tour of the NHL. 9 games in 10 nights. It is Gustafsson's last chance to check on his stars and prospects before the Swedish team is announced in December.
We have to make some, tough decisions. Last calls there right before Christmas.
The midway point of the trip is Detroit. Fitting, since so many Swedish stars play for the Red Wings, albeit for Team Canada coach Mike Babcock. Advantage Canada?
He knows us pretty well, and it will be a challenge for us to face that.
Gustafsson's arrival coincides with news that Peter Forsberg has signed to play in the Swedish Elite League for the rest of the year. More significantly, Forsberg says if he's healthy, he wants to be in Vancouver.
The tournament we had a couple of weeks ago, he looked okay, not more than that, and now it's going to be the next big challenge for him now to really get in game shape.
But with or without Peter Forsberg, Trey Kroner will go to Vancouver in February, ready to play Olympic hockey, Swedish style.
They all kind of are part of this great machine. And sometimes that means not standing out and saying me, 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 me.
Swedes have such high-end talent and such discipline, and their commitment to a team concept, I think, makes them dangerous. They will have a highly skilled group.
Everybody have to get a role in the team, accept the role, and do it good. They're there, and they're going to do it for you every night. Go out and work their ass off, and really, stick their nose into the job.
There's this Canadian chauvinism thing where it's, well, we're going to win because we really care, right? Nobody else. We're the ones with the great beating hockey hearts, and we'll beat those guys because it's our game. Well, guess what? They care.
Everyone wants to see Canada win, of course, because it's in Vancouver. Everyone wants a Canada-Russia final, of course. But chances are Sweden is going to be in that gold medal game.
Going to Vancouver now, we feel like we are little underdogs.
Morning, sir. Everything good? Yeah, so far so good.
I mean, both Russia and Canada, should be a little more favorites than we are, and of course, but we will be there. And I know I like that situation, and I know that a lot of the players like that too, because we don't mind sneaking around the background there and peak in the end of the tournament there, and then make some little more stories for everybody.
The last two World Championship, Russia beat Canada twice. I think a lot of people see that as a dream matchup in the final, and we're going to do everything we can to ruin that, obviously.